Even the producers who said they had seen it all couldn't have guessed it. Scrappy was recording 1 minute, sequences in which they pretend to mend their damaged marriage for the cameras while in treatment with Bambi, and he was in the next minute. Miami was wearing a clean white shirt, smiling broadly, and he was holding the hand of a lady whose name had not been spoken for months. Dixon, Erica. However, no paparazzi were present. No sound man cutting microphones in his underwear on production vehicles. Only a judge of the peace and Scrappy Erica were present in the instead, then changing the future. They seemed to be in the midst of a courtroom, completing a tax form. There were no rings, on-camera interaction. They didn't scream vows to the HR world. However, what did get a marriage license was formally stamped on that day. And that document, that single page of icy reality, was what would turn out to be the catalyst for the greatest collapse in hip-hop and romantic history. Because Scrappy wasn't only being dishonest. He wasn't only getting back in touch. Bambi had always dreaded the lady he had secretly married. And he did it as if nothing had occurred while he was still shooting. The secret maintained for a while. It wasn't flawless. There were rumors, sightings in the middle of the night, and that one Scrappy clip, evading queries about relationships during a live performance, but nobody had evidence. Additionally, rumors are only noise in our society till the revenues fall. Here comes the pandemonium queen, Tasha K., the lady who thrives on transforming murmurs into blazes. People thought she was lying low since she had been too quiet for a few weeks, after that most recent case. In actuality, however, she had been waiting for the ideal opportunity to set off the bomb. A few weeks before, an Atlanta courtroom clerk had tucked a pixelated paper into her DMIs. Initially, it seemed too sloppy, too hazy, too false. Tasha K., however, did not overlook it since she is a master of mess. She cross-referenced the date stamps, confirmed the clerk, and examined the state records before scheduling her glam, poured some wine, and pressed the Go Live button. The title of the vlog was unique. Scrappy wed his former partner, but Bambi was filmmaking as a kind of treatment. And the internet didn't go back up when she hit play. Are you all set? She grinned and purred into the camera as if she wanted to fight because of what I was about to portray. You're going to completely upend this franchise. She displayed the document with the dates, names, and legal seals circled. Everything. Do you notice this? It's not a rumor. There is no plot to this. Marriage is this. Mr. Scrappy was out here beginning a new marriage with Erica Dixon while he was sobbing on your TV screens over his marriage with Bambi. And you know what? Bambi doesn't know. Manufacturers, I don't know. Now, however, everyone is aware. The internet took off. The video became viral in only 20 minutes. Scrappy's wife, Erica, was a Twitter sensation inside an hour. Moment. Grabs were all over Instagram bloggers' feeds. Commenters went there rabid. Bambi won't faint in any manner. Although Tasha has the devil in her, if she isn't consistent, dang it. Unfortunately, Bambi learned about it via her phone, just like the rest of us. Nor was she browsing aimlessly. As she prepared to tape a confessional, she was in glom. She has been re-establishing trust with Scrappy. The first person to notice the change in energy was her makeup artist. Bambi was gone. She continued to stare at her phone as if it had struck her in the chest, making no eye contact or small chat. Then, without a word, she got up, threw over a chair, and left the place altogether. By that time, the cameras were rolling. Production. Scurried. In a whisper, one PA followed her down the corridor and said, "Please, Bambi, let's discuss it on camera. We can create a secure situation." However, she wasn't paying attention. She struck the parking lot, threw open the door of her vehicle, and let out a guttural, rag-soaked roar that reverberated around the parking lot like a car alarm. She was not interested in filming, contracts, or the final product's appearance, because Bambi didn't at that time feel like a part of the cast. She felt like a woman who had been played, in private, in public, and in the workplace. There was an option for the producers, use it or keep her safe. And they went with option 2 in typical VH1 flair. Instead of just letting the video play, they framed it and leaned into it. Clips of Scrappy potential treatment are shown. Cut to Bambi sobbing moments, about battling for affection. "He always comes back to me," Erica Dixon remarked in old reunion video. All of a sudden, the season seemed evil rather than just chaotic. The treachery was ingrained in Bambi reversed the screenplay since she had little control over the storyline and the cut. She stopped coming and vanished, refused to respond to demands for reunion preparation, obstructed production numbers, and to set. An apology was not what she wanted. She desired responsibility. Above all, she wanted her version of the truth to be known. Erica Dixon, meanwhile, remained composed. Too awesome. Just vibes, no interviews, no pronouncements. She uploaded a kind picture. Dump, smoothies, beaches, and a candle with the words, "Clean energy only." Tucked away on the last slide, a close-up of her hand with the ring finger prominently shown. Just a sparkling image without any tags or annotations, diamond and the world's well-groomed middle finger. Supporters were well aware of her actions. This clapback is a soft serve. One person said, Erica knew she would win. Perhaps she did it because no one had the courage to acknowledge that Erica was sitting quietly, safe in a marriage, while Bambi was going downhill. Aloud. But in our world, stillness never endures. Particularly after Tasha K has more ammo. The actual blow had not yet been delivered. Since it wasn't simply a paper that was dumped next, it was on video. The purpose of the video was not to leak. Not quite yet. Not until VH1 had a story to tell about it. Not until they could use pre-approved confessionals, gradual fades, and musical cues to lessen the impact. However, this was not a leak in production. It was a retaliatory leak. And the person who dropped it desired blood. The black and white, blurry video was time-stamped 3 months ago and quiet, but for the reverberating sound of heartache on the internet. It featured Scrappy and Erica Dixon leaving a hotel room with their hands together. They laughed, wore identical rings, had no disguises, and were intimate and comfortable without the need for words. He gave her temple a kiss. She adjusted his collar. With trepidation, she glanced around and said something. He smirked, nodded, and lowered his head. Then, as if they had just shut the door, they moved along the corridor. An agreement, not in public, but behind closed doors, as if they took pride in concealing it. However, the passion wasn't what started the conflagration. The date stamp was the culprit. The video was recorded. As Scrappy continued to publicly act as if he was fighting for his marriage to Bambiage, within hours, the video became viral. It was on the homepage of every major blog. There were 100,000 Twitter threads. Likes before dawn. Investigators using TikTok were closely examining timestamps, baggage tags, and even the patterns of the carpet in the corridor. To verify the lodging. One commenter compared the nail art of Erica Dixon in the video with an old Instagram post and verified the precise week that it was shot. A video of Scrappy sobbing during treatment was posted by another admirer. Meeting with Bambi, broadcast just 2 days after the date of the leaked footage. It wasn't simply romantic betrayal. It was planned, plotted, layered. Then all of a sudden, Scrappy began to resemble a performance. The first time Bambi viewed it, she was silent. No breakdown, no tears, simply quiet. She was pacing by the 3rd lap. On the 5th, she began to call her lawyer, and she was typing by the 8th. The caption on Instagram was brief yet effective. Have you ever been in love with someone who was always wearing a mask? No tags, no name. However, everyone was aware. Her DMS filled in an instant. Supporters, creators, castmates, some with amazement, some with daring, and others with pity. Erica Banks sent one text that said, "Girl, just noticed the video. This isn't possible." Another Yandi member said, "Tell me what I got you need." Bambi, however, didn't want pity. She wanted a stage. "You want a reunion?" she said icily, and plainly to the producers. "I'll give you one, but you'd best not say a word if I do." In the background, editors were scrambling to recut programs, and publicists were in disarray. We're attempting to buy time, and according to one insider, VH1 even contacted Scrappy's team to inquire about his willingness to deal with the film in a controlled setting. The phrase "controlled" was a comedy now, since the program was no longer directing the plot and control had been destroyed. Now the reunion and the internet were like live grenades waiting for someone to pull the pin. The only thing the producers could do was to stop the explosion, but they were unaware that Bambi had already set the fuse. Like a woman who had nothing left to lose, she entered the reunion taped. Glom, a black jumpsuit, new nails, and eyes that were so puffy from sobbing that they didn't bother wearing a beautiful gown. With mascara. There was no pretense, no artificial grin, no embrace as the cameras rolled. "I hope you're proud," she shot Scrappy a direct glance. "You destroyed a heritage as well as a family, and you did it while wearing a microphone pack." As the room went still, the host was unable to interrupt either. To his credit, Scrappy made no effort to refute it, but his subsequent remarks simply served to exacerbate the situation. That line alone exploded the set. "I don't know how to tell you without hurting you." "You mean to tell me you slept in my bed and married another woman?" Bambi got up. "You injured me, and the only reason you didn't tell me was because you didn't want to harm me. Scrappy, you lied to me while forcing me to record sequences every single day." Erica Dixon, sitting stealthily across the sofa, eventually opened her lips. "Where I had to defend you. I didn't want any of this drama, and I didn't ask for it." Bambi yelled, "I just married my daughter's father. That's my right." "Don't play the victim now, sis. You knew he was mine when you took him back. You are a co-conspirator." Tasha K., who is a special commentator sitting in the front row, allowed a little chuckle. Not the line of the co-conspirator. Who is the girl? The reunion abruptly shifted from reality TV to a live public trial. With the exception of the jury was the globe, the judge was gone, and then it occurred. Bambi trembled. "You guys think this is the twist? There's a whole subplot coming, baby." She took out a second letter from her handbag. She gave it to the host, who carefully and bewilderedly opened it to see another legal paper, another marriage application, but the bride's line didn't have Erica or Bambi on it. The presenter hesitated, then introduced a third lady, JM, who was purportedly from Miami. "Hold on, what's this?" As he was promising me love and happiness, Bambi crossed her legs and delivered the knockout line. He was attempting to acquire another lady an entire wedding outfit, and I discovered this in his email. He was gifting Erica a ring. The guy is a serial groom rather than a spouse, and they dated prior to their courthouse wedding. Collector. The crowd went wild, and screams broke out. Even Erica Dixon seemed surprised, but no one cared anymore when production attempted to halt. "Who is Jade exactly?" "Mike," she said in a whisper. Sweating and clutching his microphone as if he were about to explain, Scrappy got to his feet. But his explanation was too brief. No smooth enough words, and Bambi was only getting started. In addition to being messy, the aftermath was biblical. After the reunion taped, Scrappy was in a rented trailer, pacing back and forth while clutching his phone as if it needed an explanation. His Instagram was filled with snake images, broken heart emoticons, and women tagging one another with the phrase, "This is why you shouldn't trust any man with a fade and a mic check." One by one, his endorsement arrangements were falling through. The cologne line first, followed by the booze brand. A wardrobe employee was spoken to by a production assistant. The actors gathered in quiet inside the studio after learning that the labels were dismissing him as well. Even others who had previously spoken up for him, such as Erica Banks, Jock, and even Kendrick, remained silent because when a man's mask falls so loudly, unfortunately, the stillness was short-lived. Tasha K., still feeling the high from before. She had left the parking lot. She went live again in the backseat of her vehicle, breaking the year's biggest story. Glam half done. You all watched her beaming into the camera as if she had just won a championship. She left voice notes. You heard it. And baby, we ain't done. Real ones purportedly from the third lady. Before Erica J.M., the Miami stylist Scrappy, attempted a covert marriage. The Erica wedding was for legal reasons, he informed me, and they weren't together. Her voice broke, sounding young and bewildered, and she said that I was the one he really loved. The screenshots of the Cash App, meal receipts, airline reservations, and hotel confirmation emails with Scrappy's name at the top and hers at the bottom followed. The bottom. There was no start or finish to the web of falsehoods. It just looped around. Bambi was the only one moving silently, while everyone else pulled tight. There was no need for her to yell or go live. The reunion had done the screaming for her. She paused before the last slice in a clever, incisive manner. When she did spoke again, it was in a pre-recorded sit-down interview rather than on Instagram, using a black-owned streaming site. The set was simple. Bambi in a basic outfit, one chair, one camera, and no music. Her statement rocked the reality. TV world. Tea and jeans, no lashes, no filter, no filter. I was upset because he exploited me to sell it, not that he cheated. I supported him when he made me a character in a narrative that I never received the screenplay for. I taped situations that made me appear insane while I was the only one telling, but I forgiven him. The truth. This was not only treachery, it was abuse that was aired. Next came the bombshell. Tell VH1 to submit the documents if they want to. Sue me for stating that. The video became viral, and now I have peace and a legal team. Before the whole interview was released, fans commented on TikTok and inundated with memes. Bambi sobbing in therapy over images of Scrappy sneaking off to marry someone else, with hashtags like Ian the last wife and I Bambi deserved better began to gain popularity. For the first time in years, viewers did more than just watch her. They VH1. Went into a PR lockdown because they believed her, and that belief struck harder than any edit. According to one source, the reunion finale was undergoing a significant overhaul, while another said that Scrappy would be removed from the group completely. However, the harm was already done when he was photographed by paparazzi outside Frost Bistro by himself. Hoodie pulled low, he was clearly upset according to witnesses, and he informed a security officer while shouting into his phone. There was no preparation, only exposure, yet they and set me up. After years of concealment, deceit, and inconsistencies, Erica Dixon, for her portion, disappeared during shooting and wrote a quick email to producers stating that she would not be returning for pickups. However, Bambi continued to deliver a last blow, posting a carousel to screenshots of previous texts from Scrappy stating, "You're the only woman I trust with my name," and pictures of her kids on her feed. Finally, there was a grainy picture of Scrappy talking on the phone with what seemed to be Erica when he was still residing at Bambi's home. The message reads, "Remember that a lady isn't ignoring you if you ever question her quiet. She is gathering." Fans used the sentence as a rallying cry, printing it on clothing, and celebrities like Taraji P. shared it. Bambi was no longer the weeping wife on film when Henson made a statement that was met with 3 applause. She made a splash by landing a new documentary agreement with a streaming service. The Last Wife, from treachery to brand. TV was no longer her Instagram bio. Personality to the writer. Encourage creator of my own work. Tenacious. He attempted to recover. Uploaded it in his automobile, a 3-minute apologetic video, "Just let me speak," the caption reads. However, the opinions were harsh. The uppermost, "You had a whole wedding," the remark said, and continued to attend treatment. "You don't need recovery. Handcuffs are necessary for you." The last sequence was not shot on location. It wasn't even planned out. Weeks passed. When Jade Ma's mystery bride was posted later, a message on her own Instagram story. On a black screen. Just text. "I was 26. He declared his love for me." "Erica," he said. "Didn't matter. Bambi," he said, "was just television. I was promised a wedding by him. I didn't understand that I was just his next escape route. I've blocked him," the post concluded, "right now. Today is the first day of healing." Additionally, it was the conclusion, or even the start, due to when Scrappy melted into quiet and Jade and Erica withdrew into luxury. Vanished from the discussion, Bambi remained strong, not just as a survivor, but like a lady who never started out weak, just used as a weapon by a world that required her to be. Additionally, when they attempted to create a narrative about her, she reversed the script and left it as a lasting legacy. See